In November 2025, the Arab-Islamic Summit in Doha was supposed to be another routine gathering of leaders, until the unthinkable happened. An Israeli airstrike struck Doha itself, targeting Hamas officials during peace negotiations, shaking Qatar's role as a mediator and sparking global outrage. But the real shock came not from the attack, but from the voice that rose in response. A voice from West Africa, a voice of defiance, a voice that stunned the summit and the world. That voice was Ibrahim Traoré, the young leader of Burkina Faso, who delivered a fiery speech that no one expected. For decades, Qatar has acted as a mediator in some of the Middle East's most complicated conflicts, hosting peace talks, opening dialogue channels, and investing its resources into diplomacy. That is why the Israeli strike in Doha was not just seen as a military action, but as an insult to Qatar itself, an attack on its sovereignty, a message that no place, not even a negotiation table, is safe. The Arab-Islamic Summit was quickly convened. Leaders from across the Muslim world, joined by observers from Africa and Asia, gathered in Doha under tense circumstances. The mood was heavy. Many expected symbolic statements, official condemnations, and the usual diplomatic balancing act. But hidden behind the scripted speeches was a growing frustration. Frustration that Arab and Muslim states had long been sidelined, ignored, and pressured by more powerful global forces. And into that silence, Traoré stepped forward. At only 34 years old, he already carried the image of a revolutionary. Known for standing up against French influence in Burkina Faso, expelling foreign troops, and speaking unapologetically about African sovereignty, he was not the type of leader to simply repeat empty words. When his turn came, he stood up calmly, but the fire in his eyes signaled what was coming. Today, he began, we stand on the fault lines of hypocrisy, power, diplomacy, and war. His voice echoed in the hall, instantly drawing attention. He declared the attack on Qatar not just a strike on Hamas, but an assault on the very possibility of peace. If mediators are killed at the table of negotiation, then peace itself is already dead. The room fell silent. Leaders shifted uncomfortably. Some nodded in agreement. Others avoided his gaze. This was not the polite, cautious language they were used to. This was raw truth. But Traoré didn't stop there. He pointed directly to the heart of the issue: Western hypocrisy. He accused Western powers of fueling wars while preaching peace. He reminded everyone that the same governments who claim to defend human rights are often the ones financing destruction. Walls built through hypocrisy will crumble, but trust forged in justice will endure. It was a direct challenge not only to Israel's allies, but to everyone in that room who had remained silent for too long. For the first time in years, a non-Arab African leader was not just a guest at the Arab-Islamic Summit, he was shaping its direction. He reminded Arab states that unity without courage is meaningless, that condemnation without action is nothing more than noise. And then he laid down his demands. Traoré called for coordinated legal action against the strike, urging Arab and Islamic countries to take the case to international courts. He demanded boycotts and sanctions against aggressors, reminding the hall that economic pressure has power when unity is real. He pushed for stronger alliances between Arab and African states, envisioning a South-South solidarity that could no longer be ignored by the West. And above all, he called for an end to silence. What is more costly, he asked, a handshake now, or the loss of our principles forever? The hall erupted. Some leaders clapped cautiously, some applauded loudly. Cameras caught faces of both approval and unease. The younger generation of leaders seemed inspired, while older figures exchanged worried looks. The message was clear. This was not business as usual. Outside the summit hall, the impact was even greater. On social media, Traoré's words went viral within hours. Hashtags like Doha Summit and Traoré's speech trended across the Arab world, Africa, and beyond. Supporters celebrated him as a voice of dignity, a leader unafraid to say what others would not. Critics accused him of being reckless, of risking diplomatic fallout. But even his critics admitted he had shifted the entire tone of the summit. Analysts on international news networks debated the consequences. Was this the beginning of a stronger Arab-Islamic African bloc? Would the West retaliate with political and economic pressure? Some feared sanctions. Others worried about disinformation campaigns designed to discredit him. But no one could deny it. Traoré had captured global attention. His words also reignited an important memory. For decades, Africa's role in international diplomacy had often been overlooked. But now, with leaders like Traoré, Mali's Assimi Goïta, and Niger's Abdurrahman Chiani, a new wave of young African presidents were stepping onto the world stage. Their message was clear. Africa would no longer be silent or sidelined. As the summit drew to a close, its final declaration reflected much of what Traoré demanded: a condemnation of the strike, support for Qatar's sovereignty, and a call for accountability. But beyond the official text, the real story was the speech itself. For the millions watching, it was not just about Qatar, Israel, or the Arab world. It was about courage, about truth spoken in a place where truth is often softened or silenced. Ibrahim Traoré's fiery words reminded the world that diplomacy does not have to be weak, that justice does not need to whisper, and that sometimes one voice can shake a room full of power. Whether or not world leaders will act remains uncertain, but what is certain is this: the young leader from Burkina Faso has shown that the future belongs not to those who bow quietly, but to those who stand firmly. And as history records the Arab-Islamic Summit of 2025, one question will echo beyond Doha, beyond the Arab world, and beyond Africa. Will Traoré's words be remembered as mere rhetoric, or as the spark that ignited a new era of unity, justice, and defiance against oppression?